goes on. The beat goes.
Luckily, Alexis Jones comes out with that ball.
Howard, the ball fake. Force the hook. There's nothing there.
Connor as well. Turnover. Top of the key, but Tierra from the crack gets it back a little too antsy.
Given some space. Here is Clark. First period. Off. Lloyd, the offensive rebound. She gets the putback. So did Howard. Rebound. Collect. Goes up with the steal. Catchings. Celadon bench having a little fun. But Autry goes to the reverse and missed it badly.
More than doubling her points per game from last season. I saw her in the gym every day.
Played hard there by Gabby Williams. Golden for a right side three. That's an air ball long. Offensive rebound fouls. The putback fell.
And now for our feature presentation.
I hate you, hate you. I hate you, hate you.
Fuck you, prize pig!
I hate you, hate you.
Fuck you, prize pig!
I hate you, hate you.
Fuck you, prize pig!
I hate you, hate you.
Fuck you, prize pig!
But I've had enough.
Fuck you, prize pig! All the skin, man, I hate enough. Fuck you, prize pig! My whole clique about to fuck you up. Fuck you, prize pig! Population, we are not the same. Fuck you, prize pig! Begin to win and take everything. Logging in, make my picks, I'm about to get this spread. It makes me harder than Candace Parker giving me head. Rage bed, if I don't win, then I'ma come pick you up. Carpooling to the bridge. If we a fam, then we all jump. Let the underhope, she blows her knees or ends up dead. Whatever it takes, I'm trying to make this money with my friends. WNBA season, so much free you won't believe. Join in Discord, you can pay a drop support and more. At least I'm kidding, we really winning the ghost of the industry. Johnny and Clyde, they don't want the smoke, we taking all the money. Ain't no selling now. Population, we are not the same. We do this every day now. Everybody say, fuck you, prize pig. Fuck you, prize pig. Fuck you, prize pig. Fuck you, prize pig.
Well, I've had enough.
Fuck you, prize pig. You can keep your rotten taco. Fuck you, prize pig. Sorry, Johnny, that's tomato. Fuck you, prize pig. If you really wanna win, fuck you, prize pig. Come and rock with population.
Yo.
All right, what is up, guys? It's been a while. E, is your mic working?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's working? Okay.
Cool. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry we've been MIA. It's been busy. I went on a summer vacation for a couple weeks, so now I'm just trying to get back in just the things. So I'm gonna let you take it away, E, on these plays as I get caught up. And we'll just briefly go through it. It's only 2 games, and then tomorrow, I don't think we'll be able to do any streams, so maybe we can briefly touch on the games because I think they start early and throughout the day, right?
Yeah, they start super early tomorrow.
Yeah. But today we got 2 games, and we have and it's Taco Tuesday, of course, on Prize Picks. So we'll talk about that. And yeah, the first game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta versus Minnesota. Do you know what the spread is on this one?
Yeah, we have Atlanta at -6 and about a 170 game total.
Pretty high total. So kick us off with this one. What are you liking so far? I know they kind of held out on props pretty much all day, and they only had points for the longest time. So have anything stand out to you that's been posted recently?
Yeah, so right before we went live, they added 2 more categories for us. They added the 3-point attempts and then the field goals made. The 3-point attempts are fairly high. They do feel pretty normal. You know, you could probably take a stab at some baddies like Tiffany Hayes or McBride here, or even Dino at home. She's gonna chuck if she's feeling it. But honestly, yeah, I mean, I think this is, for the first game, the Minnesota-Atlanta, it's a pretty good game environment. Really, we're just hoping that Minnesota can actually keep it close here on the road. They have actually had a reasonable season. I believe they're 9-11, almost back to 500. And Atlanta has been on a pretty good winning streak. They're 7-3 as of lately. And really, a lot of it's in large part to the duo of both Howard and Gray. And we've seen more recently, thankfully, Cheyenne Parker has kind of stepped back into her original self. Her minutes were down there for a little bit in production and everything. It was taking a hit. But this team's gelling pretty good here, and you couldn't ask for a better spot. Going up against Minnesota, we know they're giving up the assists and they're giving up the threes. And even more recently, not just the threes, they're just giving up points in general. So their opponents have been able to score fairly at will. We are expecting Tiff Mitchell back tonight, so that is something to keep an eye out for. That wrist injury is looking like she's okay. We need to know if she's going to start or if she's going to come off the bench, so that'll affect some of the Minnesota players. But they gave us a few low-hanging fruit. I hate playing McBride, but man, 3.5 field goals made is just like, that's absurd for any player. I think that's just an interesting low option. I mean, she just needs 4 buckets from anywhere. It's going to be a healthy game environment. Like I said, 170 total. If they can hang in there, I think we're going to be looking at some decent overs. Prize Picks kept the board pretty dry for us today, all in all. Like, a lot of stuff's pretty juiced. They took away a lot of props. Like, they gave us Feezy and Parker's turnovers at 2.5. oh my goodness, that was so nice for like all of 2 minutes, and then they just took it all away. So I think one of the guards here for Minnesota is going to be in a pretty good spot. Pick your poison between McBride, and they actually took down. Well, they just reposted Diamond's points back to 12, so they actually bumped up her and McBride here. A little weird with Tiff Mitchell coming back. How do you feel about that?
Well, is there any updates on what Minnesota coaching staff and news reporting is really hard to trust. We learned a lot about that, especially with injuries. But is there any inclination or news about minutes for Tiff Mitch? And yeah, are they going to ease her back in?
No, they really haven't said anything. I know that she did participate in practice, and she's at least with the team, on the road here. So I'm assuming she does play. She's probably we're gonna see that beginning of the season role that she was in, that kind of 23 to 25 minutes. I think probably will come off the bench for this first game since she has been out for quite an amount of time. But they also threw Diamond right back into the starting lineup. So, that
Yeah.
that's really hard to say too.
Yeah, and that first game back from injury for Diamond, wasn't there a report that there was going to be a minute restriction, and then she ended up playing 31 minutes?
Yeah, and two games, the consecutive games in her return, she played 30 and like 32 minutes. So there was no real limitation initially, and then wham, they got us on that third game. She played like 15 minutes and then didn't play almost the entire second half. So
yeah,
I'm
Minnesota hard.
yes.
They're hard to trust for anything.
Yeah, sketchy at best. And they do have Lindsay Allen as their game day girl, so maybe kind of a slight nod for her remaining at the one.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I'll probably fade Tiff Mitchell, even if they give us her props. A little bit of interest in, like I said, McBride and Diamond, but not a great feeling there. No confidence. If anything, personally, I'm going to target a lot from Atlanta here and just try and get probably some live betting exposure to Minnesota, because if they're getting beat, they're just going to wave the flag like they've done all season, and I don't see things changing here.
Yeah, well, let's pick a couple of your favorite Atlanta plays then, because I agree. We know how they play at home much better, and then this is a perfect game environment for them. Should be fast paced, and that total suggests that. And we know, like you said, Minnesota gives up assists, and that correlates well with allowing a high 3-point percentage. So yeah, they have bled threes all season. And you got 3-point chuckers like Ryan Howard, especially at home. She's probably going to take anywhere from 7 to 10 threes. And that's just a matter of, is she going to go 2 of 10, or is she going to catch fire or not? But yeah, between Ryan Howard, Parker, and Alicia Gray, what 2 of the 3 do you like the most, and which props?
Parker, I think, is still going to remain third in the pecking order for me.
Okay.
She's still she's in line for the third place, but I think that's still kind of subject to production game by game. They are at home, so maybe they keep it a little bit closer to her. And I've got this fly that's buzzing around me that's driving me insane. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would feel reasonably comfortable going back to some kind of combo of just maybe straight up points between Howard and Gray here.
Okay.
Their usage every game has basically stayed the same, almost now 30% split usage between the two. And then Parker, distant third behind that. But right now, they're really struggling or they, as in Minnesota, really struggling defensively. They're honestly just kind of hoping their offense keeps them in the game, because the defense, that's not it. Diamond's struggling to stay out of foul trouble. Kayla McBride has been a shell of herself. And I'll say, Feezy and Lindsay Allen have been two pretty reasonable defenders, but overall, this is going to be pretty tough for them. The points combo I think is a pretty strong option, and maybe even some kind of rebound combo here since Minnesota does play down. Um, they've been giving up quite a few rebounds, and one rebounder in particular, I'm thinking Alicia Gray at 4.5 rebounds is just we haven't seen that in a little while, and that's almost a full point under her season average right now. I know Howard and Parker have been doing a lot of the rebounding, but Gray is still one of their most capable rebounders, and she's looked great lately. I think she's one of the solid backbones of the team here, and maybe some combination of like PR for Gray at 23 flat. I really didn't mind that. Price Pick
I,
still doesn't. Oh, go ahead.
I would just say I'm with you on the rebound. That was always something a go-to for us in the past, and even when she was on Dallas, whenever it would get down to that 4.5 range, because we know she's a capable rebounder as a guard, and especially in the mid-range. So totally makes sense. And Parker, her rebounding is so inconsistent, right? Like she can go a whole game, get only 2 defensive rebounds, and then like 6 offensive. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there is a risk, with Parker. I think you kind of get what you get with her production there, but the one thing I'd mentioned earlier is for whatever reason, PrizePicks did adjust lines based off of this last All-Star game. I'm not really sure why, but they did move a few lines based off of that being into their projections. A little weird. I think that was kind of a misstep on their part. Like Parker being back at 7 rebounds flat, that's a little weird because she was there last game prior to the All-Star and she just barely missed out, but was crushing it before that. And I think, still pretty low for her, honestly.
yeah, I mean it could be worth it. It could be an alternate play if you in a card that you don't have Gray's rebounds, you could do something like a Parker rebound and then which allows you to opens the door to do Ryan plus Gray their point combo if you were interested in that.
Yeah, because we played it in our team card last time, and the combo was actually at 12 flat, and it pushed, but we did lose out to some foul minutes from both the players. So now being at 11.5, I really don't mind it. Um, but I think going with the points here is probably a safer option. Some combination between those 3 players, and they've been coexisting every game so far. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm with you, man, and we always like Atlanta at home in a cake matchup in this game environment, so makes sense. Anything else from this game? Catch up with chat.
No, just tread pretty light with both Feezy and I think Feezy because game script. I'm thinking they're going to put Howard and Coffee on a large majority of the time on Feezy here. So either not Gray, either McBride or whoever the one guard is going to have some scoring opportunity tonight. So just a little something to keep in mind. Future props, whatever they give us.
Okay. That's good to point out. All right, let's catch up with the old friends here. Brother Ski, what up, ECW, our homie, and underrated as always. And then Timeout Sports Podcast. Mitchell will likely come up the bench. Yeah, I agree. It would make sense, but you never know in Minnesota, right? But it would definitely make sense, especially since she already played a bench role to start the season, right? And now coming back from injury. But yeah, even if she doesn't come up the bench and starts, I mean, we've seen her minutes fluctuate all over the place, and her minutes might not even make an impact on the game. She could play, 18, 20. You never know. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out, man. Let's get to the late night hammer, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, and
Yep.
one last note. Rachel Banham will be out for 2 to 3 weeks, I think, with a broken or sprained thumb.
Okay. And her talk about minutes, she's been all over the place.
Yeah, for sure. So convenient that Tiff Mitchell came back and Banham exited at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's start with the visiting team, Connecticut here. They, I believe, are 7.5 point favorites
Mm-hmm.
against a very, very struggling Phoenix team, but with the new coach in place and being at home, maybe it helps them a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I've been on vacation for a couple weeks and trying to get caught up, and I come back and see like Sophie Cunningham down to what's her full game? 8 points.
Yeah.
4 points first half, like now she's at 8.5. It's like what happened? And then yeah, it just seems like it's just Taurasi and Griner, right? And yeah, Sutton's not doing anything. I mean, what's your thoughts on Phoenix here?
Yeah, they're a mess, honestly. I think that this team is in a disguised tank mode right now. I think that we're gonna see Grinders still be fairly active, up until when they just shut the whole show down. I think Tarasi is, I believe she's 80, yeah,
Years old?
84. Yeah, yeah. In Tarasi years, she's at least 80, but she's 84 points away from her 10K career point marker.
Okay.
I think that is a focal point for the team, kind of for their PR, for this documentary that they're rolling out, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, this team is in definite tank mode. They are horrible. They're 2-11 in their conference. Whatever their seasonal record is, it's even worse than that. So they're so far out of the playoff picture right now, it's not even funny. I think that we keep an eye on Mariah Jefferson, the future of the team. Here, let me say that. Keep an eye on Mariah Jefferson and Michelle, as well as the times that they're choosy about giving us Sutton props. I don't know if you've seen her. Her full game points were down to 4.5. That is crazy talk. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, yeah, she was up. She got all the way up to what 10 or 11 for a while. So, man. Okay, well, let's say that Phoenix keeps being Phoenix here. I think first half, if I was going to target any over, it would have to be a first half here, because I just don't trust Phoenix. Having all season, some pretty low lines here for the first half. I mean, Mariah Jefferson at 7.5, it's pretty low, but obviously Tarasi and Griner can soak up a lot of the usage and make it difficult, but I think that's definitely worth a stab. And even Onyware, I mean, she is also pretty low, and we've seen her have spike first half. So it just all really depends on what Tarasi we get in the first half, and if she's commanding the floor and doing her thing. So maybe take a stab at one of these two. Let's see what Onywari's first half. I mean, she has stock potential. But yeah, I'd probably stick maybe with the PRA. Yeah, I don't know if you're around, but just chime in whenever you get back.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on first half props? Because I think that's what I only feel comfortable with, unless for an over, and then maybe we could talk about some potential unders, and then obviously look out for second half unders before they remove it from the board if it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, and you're talking about from Phoenix side of things?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's definitely some interesting options. They pulled basically all of Sophie's down to the bare minimum. We're just getting points from her, which is kind of disappointing because she was actually getting a few stocks and rebounds to kind of save some of her production. I know last game her first half was all the way down to 3.5. So we might even get another bump down, but it looks like the full game went back up a little bit. So more than likely probably won't have that option. But Jefferson, her first half, I think PRA is pretty low. Her PRA, her points. And for this particular matchup, and we're getting Michelle's first half fantasy at a discount, I'd probably say the fantasy here. Because Alyssa Thomas is still turning the ball over like 4 times a game.
Yeah. I agree with that. Any full game unders or maybe even over that you had in mind? I see, Taurasi being at home. We know she is a little bit more efficient shooting from the outside and probably takes a little bit more threes. I haven't looked into the recent data yet for her home road splits, but they have her 3-point attempt at 6.5. The only concern with that is if it gets out of hand and she loses out on big minutes in the second half or the fourth quarter, that could really hurt that 3-point attempt. And if she's breaking them, also will reduce some. But I mean, that's what she's primarily doing, right? So what's your thoughts on that and any other full game Phoenix props?
Yeah, Taurasi, I think, is definitely the wild card here. Her 3 attempts are very interesting. Connecticut is, I think, allowing like almost the last 3 points made now, or second to last. But they're still allowing some free throws, and her 3.5 free throws, I think, is very interesting. It's one thing I've noticed about her is she's been getting some pity foul calls lately. And I say this because extremely soft contact. Like, I mean, like, dude, just a slight touch on the hip and they're calling fouls. So I think that we'll continue to see Tiffany Hayes has been kind of their best wing defender thus far, because they're not going to be able to put Heidemann. That would be a joke. She has like almost 2 feet of height on her. So I'm thinking Tiffany Hayes is going to be defending her, and then they'll have Dejanay coming in off the bench if there's any time in between. So both of those, and especially Hayes, we know she's a first half foul machine. So really, I mean, we just need 2 trips to the line here, and she's actually been catching some folks with a 3-point foul or fouls from the 3-point line. So catching kind of 3 and 1 there is pretty huge. And Connecticut, both sides have been good for a tech lately, so we might get a freebie free throw in there as well. I think it's just kind of a low hanging fruit for her. And if you want to dabble in the assist category, they did bump it back down to 5. You get what you get with her. Like, I hate advocating for her at any time.
I totally get it. Anything for Griner, or are you fading?
Man, she's in a really, really interesting spot here. So they have no height whatsoever to contend with Griner. Their next tallest person is Dota Bird off the bench, and she's 6'5". So we're still looking about 4, almost 5 inches and some change, plus whatever jump height. They're not going to put AT on her. I don't think. I think AT will be the help defense.
Yep.
But keep an eye on this game. This is a game where we really need starting lineups, because both of these coaches are new and both of these coaches have made adjusted lineups so far throughout the season. So they could both hit us with a different lineup here. I say that because Sophie's been so bad lately that we could realistically, maybe she doesn't go to the bench, but we could see Michelle actually start and they go with a 3 big set here to kind of match the size that Connecticut still does have. And Sophie's just been so awful lately. So I think for BG, I don't mind just straight up points because she has so much height on them. And first half, they still, I believe, have her PRA at 14.5. Yeah, it's still at 14.5. The rebounding's been a bit up and down lately. Been rebounding a little bit more as of late, but I think you're still just banking on the points. So you could go with the points, but we're getting the PRA at a discount.
Yeah, I mean, even when Brianna Jones was playing, Connecticut, all beginning of the season, really struggled to stop traditional athletic bigs in the paint. So totally get it. Makes sense. It's just the block concern and it's Phoenix. So, and the high lines that Griner has. Yeah, I mean, first half I think would make sense because she's been very productive in the first half. And then kind of dwindles away in the second half, especially when they start getting blown out. So I'm with it. I mean, there's a tax on her points, but the PRA makes sense. as well. So, okay. Anything else for Phoenix, or move on to the last team, the home team, Connecticut?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. We got a Taco. AT. Her PRA went from, what is that, 33.5 to 29.5. Are you interested, or are you not falling for rotten tacos?
So Phoenix is the home team. Just to
Yeah,
clarify
yeah.
that.
Sorry, I mixed it up. Yeah. We
Um,
started with the wait. I started with the home team. I flipped it.
yeah. I mean, this is this is an interesting taco. I really the taco bots got us because BG taco would have been like the no brainer because they had it for points and like that would have been the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the taco is in play, but it's in play now after they have already adjusted her lines twice for the day. So you're getting it basically right at what it opened at with the beginning of this morning. You can play it. It's a pace down. I mean, she's going up against BG and Turner, two pretty good defenders. Um, Phoenix is still fouling a little bit, so there is some offset, but Turner's been playing some lockdown defense lately, and really by and large, some of the saving grace why Phoenix hasn't just been absolutely blown out of the water. She's been really holding it down on the inside because Griner, I don't know if you noticed her stocks all the way down at 2.5. That girl's
Mm-hmm.
playing no defense
I
now.
was gonna
She
ask
is,
you about that. I was like, what happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she is 100, not 100. She's about 92% focused on just scoring the ball, and then everything else is hopefully I rebound, hopefully I get in your way, and that's it. So that alone right there kind of tells you her, her overall fantasy has been very sketchy. We're still getting her first half fantasy. It's been at like 19 and a half, 18 and a half for the longest time. She's still turning the ball over in the first half, which is, kind of annoying. So you can't really follow that path. I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm just waiting on them to shut this team down as soon as they possibly can because they're going nowhere. And I think that's just something keep an eye on for the older players, the vets. When their minutes start going down, that's when we need to flip the switch and start taking those unders.
Oh yeah. Can't wait for the twilight period for these tanking teams. I mean, with that said, I mean, you brought up some good points. And then there's also the blowout potential. I mean, would you feel comfortable going under on anything full game AT, or in your mind, is it too risky in case the game goes the distance against the pretty poor Phoenix team? But we know AT, she has to be in that very close mid-range game near the basket to get her points efficiently. A lot of times she shoots really inefficient, so you could always consider the under points, especially with the things you brought up with Turner. Or, I mean, her fantasy is crazy. I know she does it all for this team, especially with Brianna out. But man, 45, and if the game doesn't go full, but I mean, they tend to keep her out there longer than they probably should in blowouts. So that's the only concern. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, dude, her fantasy is definitely really high because it's not a good pace, not a great scoring environment. Even BG, she doesn't even foul that much. Like I said, they're not really drawing that many fouls on the inside. Yeah, and you look at that game log. So the two before that, she had 52 against New York and 50 against Chicago. Chicago, obvious, they're giving up the most points in the paint and turnovers. But dude, everything else beyond that you're asking a lot. You need her to play 38 minutes, drop 15 real points, and then be pushing a triple double again on the night.
Yeah, I think it's worth a stab. If not, just look out for the second half unders, for sure, because I'm sure it's gonna start juiced, especially if she's doing well in the first half, and then let them keep juicing it, and hopefully it stays somewhat close to, because they'll pull it if it gets in that 18 to 20 plus point differential. So you just got to be really on it and following live. And I think other sites are now offering second half. So definitely look into those sites. We provide all that in our Discord. So definitely join us if you're not part of us. We use every site possible to win and get the bookies. So yeah, I think what was it, Parlay Play just recently started second half.
Yep, underdog as well.
Underdog as well. So yeah, I think second half has definitely probably been the most lucrative method for WNBA this season. So if you're able to, I know some people are not able to be around because you really got to stay on it and track it live. But if you're able to, definitely do it. Highly recommend it. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
just to hit back on the question about the taco or taking unders, I would probably find a good two pick and then take the taco under and then go back with a full game, some kind of under, or take the taco over, full game, regular line under.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I like it. Okay. Anything else standing out for AT or any other Connecticut player? I see we got Carrington. I don't know how her minutes have been recently since I've been gone, but is she getting blowout run? Maybe she's potential target here. It would have been nice to have her fantasy, but it looks like we don't have it. And then this kind of stands out. Hayes 3-point attempts 2.5. She's not the most efficient 3-point shooter, but she will take threes for sure. Only problem is that if Connecticut has the lead and she's not forced to shoot them, it could be a problem. But with the stuff you said, like with the Turner in the paint and Griner, probably less likely to slash and get to the basket because she can be a slasher too and get to the basket and draw fouls. So maybe she's more inclined to shoot from the outside. What's your thoughts on that or any other Connecticut play?
Yeah, let me look at that 3-point. Yeah, actually, man. So it looks like for Hayes, her home road splits, she's actually almost averaging 4 3-point attempts on the road here. And we did see it last game. I mean, she snapped off, went 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. So if she's feeling herself a little bit, or maybe a little begrudging for not getting an All-Star mention, she might come out hot.
Okay.
And then one last prop that kind of stood out for me. I think, while you have that the AT 2.5 turnovers, she's been turning that over like every game, no matter what the matchup is. It's it's still probably a pretty live prop. I'm pretty surprised that they actually gave that to us still, but they bumped up Bonner rebounds to 6 flat, and I believe AT, I can't remember if she opened at 10 or if she bumped up to 10, but they didn't adjust the combo prop. It's still getting us on a discount right now for Bonner and AT. It's at 15.5.
Oh, I mean, for rebound?
Yeah, for the combo.
Yep. Oh, okay. Anything else?
And then I think one last honorable mention for Bonner's 3.5 free throws as well. Phoenix is still fouling quite a bit on the wing. I have no idea who they're going to cover her with this game because I think Turner's going to be on her, or Turner will be on somebody else. So they could have like Sophie or Michelle covering her. I don't know. She could definitely get some fouls here or free throw attempts.
Okay. Put that in the back pocket. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, let's the recap because we called out some plays. Let's just do a few of the core plays that you would roll with in a card.
All right. Do you have any early leans for yourself, or
I don't mind the Hayes now that I saw it. I don't mind it.
you do that? The 3-point attempts?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Lead us off with that.
So let's run it back with I still really like the Howard plus Gray point combo.
Okay. And then if you didn't want to do that, you could do the Gray just straight up 4.5 rebounds too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then any of the other plays that you called out that you would consider to be a core for you today?
Nothing really, I think, core worthy yet until we get the later game confirmation lineups. Or I mean,
Uh-huh.
honestly, we need lineups for 3 out of the 4 teams. So, um,
They're really skimping on the stocks and turnover props, huh? Wow.
oh, it's been so bad lately. Like one turnover prop again. It's been Asia for the last couple of games. No, not too many core plays. I'm definitely not going to advocate for McBride's 3.5 field goals, but man, that's a low hanging fruit.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
and then I agree. Some type of stupid thing. Some type of rebound exposure to Atlanta would be good. Whether it's a combo between like Ryan and Parker, or no, we can't because we have the point combo. Maybe we just straight up take a stab with Parker's rebound, like we mentioned before. If you're gonna go with the point combo,
I mean, I don't mind the Gray plus Parker rebound combo if we wanted to pull the points out.
yeah, I mean, just I would get exposure to both if you can, separate ones. But it would be good to have some type of exposure. I mean, just due to the pace and Atlanta being at home, I mean, Minnesota's going to put a ton of bricks up. So, and then yeah, your free throw call on players like Tarasi and Bonner makes sense if you want to put that as a fourth play, or just you can go, with the taco as well.
And
Yeah,
the AT under fantasy.
AT under fantasy, and the Mariah's first half PRA as well, or Anuare's first half fantasy, something like that. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think honestly that's gonna be it for right now. We should get props pretty early for tomorrow since we got such an early slate. I imagine as soon as the last game wraps up, we'll get stuff again.
Yeah, let's look at that real quick. I hope they don't like hold out tonight on those props. Oh, they're
Yeah, I hope
both
not.
early. Yeah. 8:30 my time, or on the West Coast, and 10 a.m. So 1 p.m. Eastern and 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Cool. Oh, and then I guess if you want to mix in some MLB, I did have some interest in, now that lineups are coming out, I don't mind taking a stab at Manoa's pitches thrown over on that. And what else did I have marked out? Did they still not put back Luke Weaver? Okay. And then some other live props, but they're going to be like in the innings 2 through 4. I'm going to be targeting. And then they've been adjusting the MLB lines like crazy today. Yeah, they
Oh
bumped
wow,
a lot
they didn't even give us pitches thrown for live.
Yeah, for one of the guys that I really wanted, Luke Weaver, but still waiting on the confirmation on the Giants lineup for that as well. But it looks like we might not even get it.
Probably.
Yeah. But we'll update the our spreadsheet on the MLB plays if you're part of Discord. We'll put those on there. But that's just one early lean that I had now that we got the Padres lineup. Only concern is Tatis. I'm having to worry about him swinging early and often. So, but other than that, I think his first inning and third inning for pitches are really solid. But yeah, well, we need to head over, actually chop it up with all the guys in the Discord, get some core plays, mix and match MLB and WNBA, since it's only a 2-game slate for WNBA. What do we have any idea what the next taco is going to be in 30 minutes? Is it going to be MLB, WNBA, or something else?
Well, let me see.
Because it's always 3, right?
Yeah. Let's see. It looks like it's baseball taco, Shohei Ohtani, 0.5 total bases. Looking like the winner.
Okay. I will say that his last at bat, his back, he pulled up and was wincing and holding it. So yeah, something to keep in mind, but it's 0.5 total base for Ohtani. Makes sense. All right, guys. Thursday, what's the slate like?
Thursday, we have another early game at 11:30 Eastern, and then a late lock at 8 Eastern for the first game, and then 2 at 10 for the later games.
Okay. If you're around, I can definitely stream for the 3 later games. Sometime, around the same time. So that works for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work. We obviously won't. We just won't have the first game, but we'll do the other 3 games. It's good to be back. Keep a lookout for videos that Underrated's pumping out with some of the core plays that the team likes, and then try to get those out the night before, early in the morning. But yeah, like I said, if you're not part of Discord, come join us. Awesome team, and I hope to see all of you around. And yeah, I'll catch you. Speaking of Discord, I'll catch you in there in a minute. E.
Yep. See you guys in there.
Later, guys. What up, Ayo?
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the brass tag. Let's fucking go. We going out blazing.
Let's get honey.
This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the brass tag. About to go big. Kill him with the brass tag. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it dope strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with power plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Arrogant shots on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all never stop. You can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasizing Sasha Cloud, Gabby Williams said watch your mouth. They won and they two, I played over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them and we cashing them. Let's fucking go, we about to go big. Kill him with the brass tag. Let's fucking go, we going out blazing. This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the brass tag. About to go big. Kill him with the brass tags. We about to go big.
This is the game.
We going out blazing.
Let's get honey.
This is population.